evening and welcome to About the Valley, and my guest tonight, Sean Sawyer, Dr. Sean Sawyer, and Erin
Pennell.
Pennell. I'm terrible on names. That's why I'm not a politician. And they're both here from PawSteps.
Yes,
Are you a vet too?
No,
Oh, okay.
customer service representative.
Customer service rep, all right. Because I know you have more than one vet.
right. So actually, there's PawSteps Veterinary Center, which is our existing business. We've been in Northbridge for 10 years this summer. And
Wow, 10 years
then,
already.
yeah, exactly. And then we are adding to our business by creating a new facility at the old hospital.
You can see on the sign there, the former Whitensville Medical Center on Granite Street. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. Many of us went there for a long time till they built the new one further down on Church Street.
Correct.
Church Street Extension. And then we had a big empty building sitting there. What are we going to do with this building? And so I'm sure Milford Hospital was wondering what they're going to do
Right,
with that
well,
building.
yeah, and we came along and
Yeah.
so it was about 2 years ago that I called my now partner, Dr. Mark Krutoff, out in California and said, Mark, there's this building for sale, and he called me back about 10 minutes later, and so that was where the idea was conceived to move my hospital, my veterinary hospital, up to the ground floor of the old Whitensville Hospital, and then we're going to be taking the first floor and creating an indoor daycare and boarding facility, which Erin's going to be running for us. She'll be the manager there. So.
Yeah, and you know, if somebody wonders why, talk to people who have to board their pets. If you get a holiday week,
It can be pretty difficult to find a boarding
I hear it.
facility.
People tell me you got to actually book in advance.
Sometimes months for
Yeah.
the hot weekends, the
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend coming
Yeah.
up, and Erin knows more about that than I
Yeah,
do.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, I'd say like 2 months in
Wow. So if you're
advance.
you want to go away, visit relatives.
Right,
Of course, you got to take care of the pet.
right,
Can't leave them alone.
Right.
God forbid you do that. I think some people probably do, but that's very stupid.
Not recommended from
No,
a veterinary
very
point of view.
stupid thing
No.
to do.
yeah, so
But
two,
it can be
2
difficult.
months.
We do have places around here, but there's not a lot.
Right, right, so we're hoping now that we have 70-ish, we can help with that, but I would still recommend booking further in
Yeah.
advance than you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to fill up.
Yeah,
Right. We're hoping. Well, we have plans right now for 70 housing units in our new facility, and Erin has all the specs on the units, but they're all, they're suites of various sizes to fit various size dogs or multiple dogs if you have a family, of course. And then we'll have about 2,200 square feet of indoor play space as well, with indoor potties for
Yeah.
those dogs.
This is
So-
not a kennel where they're going to be stuck in a cage.
No.
no.
Erin?
So they're gonna have plenty of opportunities to get outside, like playtime, group playtime. Just being there, they're gonna have 3 potty breaks at least. You can add on a 10 p.m. potty break, which I'll most likely be doing, because I'll be living on site. But yeah,
You're
there's
going to be
like-
living on site.
I will.
Oh, wow, so they have 24 hours
Yeah,
care, essentially.
Yeah,
Right.
the intention is to put an apartment on the top floor
Oh.
with the office space
Good.
and be able to provide 24-hour care.
These are some great innovative ideas here.
Well, I'd love to say that I came up with these ideas, but a lot of the higher end daycare and boarding facilities are doing things like that, and then in addition we'll be, of course, partnering with my veterinary practice so that we will have veterinarians who are on call if something is going on,
Yeah.
to help assist or determine what needs to happen for that pet while they're staying with us. So.
Yeah, I know. I mean, God, yeah, I know. I hear of situations where people come back to get their pet and the pet died or sick or.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately things can happen that are unexpected, but we hope that by providing that extra level of care, it will give people a lot more peace of mind that their pets are in good hands,
Right.
both from Erin and her trained staff, which we're still hiring, by the way, and a little plug there, and my veterinary practice, and then the other part of it is we are going to be outfitting the building with webcams so that you can check on your pet while they're staying
Oh,
with
so
us.
people would be able to go on their phone.
Yes.
Yes.
And take a look at their pet, say hello, and.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. There'll be webcams for their pet's individual kennel or suite, as we call them,
Yeah.
and then there'll also be for the group play areas, both indoors and outdoors.
Oh,
So they'll be
wow.
able to see what's going on, and they'll hopefully be able to enjoy their vacations more by being able to check in once in a while and just see what's going on. So this is kind of innovative, I think, for our area, but it's a very proven model in other parts of the country. My partner actually has a facility in upstate New York and also in Nashville. So
Oh, wow, so
so
this is not something new then?
no, he's been a veterinarian for quite a few years, but he was the one who helped me get started 10 years ago in my current practice, and he's been also working to get daycare facilities and boarding facilities up for other veterinarians, and we finally decided to partner on this. So I'm fortunate that I can rely on Mark a lot for direction and how to bring the high quality of care that I want to bring to the Valley the way it's been done in other places, and we'll of course have our own particular flavor of that, but because it is a renovation of a very interesting old building with lots of corners and angles,
Right.
and surprisingly difficult places to put suites in. So, but they're going to be gorgeous suites, very nice. So.
Because I don't think it was really a hospital, because the original hospital they tore down.
Well, I don't know its whole history. I know part of the building dates back to the 30s, part was to the 60s, and part to the 80s.
Yeah.
And when we were renovating, it definitely it felt that way at times.
That's the problem with additions. This building we're in it had a lot of additions, and it makes it difficult when you start to work with it.
Right. We've run into quite a few pitfalls as the process is going on, and it's been a challenge because we had to bring things up to code.
That's a big challenge.
It was very challenging. We actually had to do seismic structure supports to bring the walls up to code to deal with any kind of earthquakes that we might have here in the valley.
Isn't that amazing what you have to do today when you renovate?
Right.
I mean, nobody realized it, and it really adds tremendous cost.
It was a lot more expensive than we had expected it was going to be. So, and then we had a lovely surprise about a month or so ago where one of our boilers ruptured overnight, and
Oh,
so
God.
we've had some challenges, and every time one of these challenges occur, our construction team has risen to the challenge, and and my partner and I and Erin has been instrumental in kind of figuring out how to move forward. So it's been a process for
Well,
sure.
the problem, you set a budget,
Yes,
and then all of a sudden you're over it because all these other things take place.
Yeah.
there have been quite a few unexpected things that you set aside a contingency fund, and you quickly find
That's
was
gone.
That's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
And so the good news is we're going to be able to get into the building. We're going to have an excellent facility, and then for better or worse, it provides us an opportunity to grow, expand, and improve upon what we have. Where
Right.
over the next 10 years potentially. So
I don't have any pets.
you need one. I can get you one.
I have a pet fish.
Okay.
There
Well,
you go.
With them fighting, what do you call them?
a little
beta
Siamese
fish?
beta.
No, the little ones.
They
They find them in the puddles in the rice paddies.
Right. I think they're beta fishes.
The little beta fish,
yeah.
Beta fish. I got a
Yeah.
little beta fish.
Yeah.
That's it.
Does it have a name?
I didn't have a name for it.
Oh.
He's on my desk, and I like watching him. He watches me, and I watch him.
So Paperweight. That's his name.
Yeah, here you go. I did have pets years back.
Right.
I had a farm at one time.
Did you really?
A mini farm. I had chickens,
Yeah.
ducks, geese,
Right.
2 goats.
Sort of sounds like the farm I grew up on. We had cattle and a couple pigs and some chickens. And
Well, it was a pet farm, really. It
ours
was
was.
a hobby for me.
Yep.
Oh.
And I enjoyed it, but then I was getting too old to do it, so I found farmers to take all the animals.
Great.
found them all good homes.
That's good. It's hard. I mean,
Yep.
it's you know, taking care of these animals, whether they're, you know, a dog or a cat or a goat
Yep.
or a horse. There's a lot of challenges, and you know,
We had 2 dogs, but they died of old age.
well, that's
And-
unfortunately that happens
And
eventually. But
my last animal was a cat, but did you see that huge Fisher cat that was in the road?
no, I
on
didn't.
On
122?
122? Yes,
Yeah.
that's what that was. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Oh no, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
that's the Fisher cat that I think got my cat.
Oh,
Oh no.
that's terrible.
Because I would hear him at night.
Right,
They're loud.
Oh,
They're
right.
so
They cry like a
loud.
baby.
Yeah.
right.
And my cat and my brother's cat both disappeared.
Oh no.
And my
Yeah.
cat never went out at night,
Right.
so he got him, I think it was probably around twilight.
Yeah, I mean I think they're the biggest weasel in North America, and they're pretty scrappy. So
Oh.
I think if I remember correctly, one of my uncles was a wildlife biologist in the state of Maine, and if I remember correctly, they're the only animal that's the natural predator for the porcupine. So
Yes.
they're not anything to really be messed with.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
They'll
so.
actually sit up in a tree and
Yes.
come and pounce on.
Oh.
They'll attack a human.
Right.
Yeah, I fortunately have not had that problem. So,
Yeah.
but, they're pretty cool animals, though. We're lucky to see things like that in our area.
Well, they're necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, porcupines can be a menace as
Yeah.
well. So
I mean, and the turkeys they can be a problem.
the turkeys can be
Maybe
a problem
both.
too. Yeah. Well, I think that there's quite a few of those tom turkeys that are chasing people these days in
Yeah.
various suburban parts of the state. So
Yeah, if you get into nesting season,
yeah, they have a high territorial drive.
Yes.
Yeah. This is why I prefer to work with dogs and cats. really, what
Well,
it comes
Yeah.
down to.
I had a turkey fly through our living room window,
Oh wow, really?
and
Oh my God.
what the guy from the glass company told me, they see the reflection of
Yes.
the trees,
Yep.
Oh, and they think.
and they think they're flying into the trees, and
Right.
it flew right through the picture window,
Wow.
and landed next to the sofa.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
And then the insurance companies go, "Oh, you didn't read your policy. It doesn't cover foul."
It doesn't count.
And I looked it up, and sure enough, there it said, "Does
Doesn't
not cover
cover.
wild
Oh
fowl."
my God.
I said, "Great, now so I had to pay for my own window."
Oh, that's terrible. I fortunately have not had any run-ins with turkeys anytime. We did take care of a turkey not so long ago. One of my veterinarians, the poor little chick had a busted up leg, but that was actually a couple years ago. So we tried awfully hard to save the little guy.
Well, did you hear about the man in Grafton?
No.
He hit a deer, knocked it out, put it in his car, and brought it to Tufts.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
And the veterinarian says, "You out of your mind? If that deer had come
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, I a few years ago I took a mute swan that had been hit down on 122 up to the Tufts Wildlife Clinic, and I stuffed her in the back of my Subaru Forester with a blanket over her head and the screen pulled across, and it was quite a bit of noise back there for the ride. So
yeah, but you had him secure."
well, she was I secured enough, but I was
Yeah.
I was a little caught. I was a little concerned, to be quite honest with you. So I figured if she was good enough to get out of the car, then I was going to let her out. But
Yeah.
no, she went home a couple days later. So
No, that's good. We got to take care of our wildlife too.
absolutely, you know, I mean, I think the animals bring, whether there are domestic, you know, animals like dogs and cats, or there are farm animals or the wildlife. I mean, I think we have a lot of opportunities in this area to have our lives enriched and hopefully enrich the
Oh,
lives of
yes,
those animals
yes.
too.
I
So
mean, my dogs were great. We had them for years, and then the cat. I inherited the cat. My son's a physician,
oh, is he? Okay.
and he had him when he was going to med school.
Mhm.
When we got out of med school, he's going to his internship. He says, "I can't take care of him anymore. He's yours."
Yeah. there's a lot.
And we had him for a number of years
Yeah.
until we lost him. But he was
Wow.
old. He was close, over 20 years old.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
That is an ancient poor little guy there.
Yeah,
We
so,
don't
I
see
mean-
many 20-year-olds out there. So.
So, you know, sometimes I think my wife gets upset. I let him out. I think he wanted to go out because animals know when it's time for them to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely a secret life to dogs and cats that we we occasionally get a chance to glimpse into, and I don't know, I don't know what they're thinking sometimes at that time in their life, but
But cats seem to know when they're going to die. They'll go off and die by themselves.
well, some of them definitely will, and I don't know if they're confused or they want to be solitary when they're feeling ill. That is actually a challenge with a lot of our species, is that that we take care of. They don't show when they're sick. For instance, guinea pigs and rabbits, because in the wild other animals would be eating them. They're prey species. They don't show their illness until oftentimes it's very late in the process, where it's very hard to help them recover.
Right.
We're more fortunate with dogs in that they're so bonded with us that it's a lot more obvious sometimes. And then cats kind of fall in between. Some of the cats are very much more obvious, and others are, like you said, maybe more solitary, like yours, who he was like,
Well,
I'm just
first,
going to go for a walk.
we only
and-
had him for about 5 years.
yeah.
And he got a urinary blockage.
Okay, that's terrible.
Yeah, I brought him down to the vet.
Yep.
And he took care of him.
Good.
And then he went another 15 years.
Yeah.
But he said, we didn't know what was wrong. He was going outside all the time,
Right.
and it seemed like he was acting irrational.
Right.
Right.
And,
That condition is terrible. I mean, it's painful, and it changes your
They
body
can't tell
chemistry,
you.
and they can't tell you what's
Yeah.
going on, and
Yeah, and
yeah.
the vet told me when, another day, he probably would have died.
Right. It is a serious life-threatening condition, and one that is, and it primarily happens in the male cats
Yes.
because of their anatomy, and it's a very tough situation because it can be touch and go, even if you bring them in quickly sometimes,
Yep.
because they can get so sick from that.
I
So.
changed his diet after that, and like
Great.
I said, he went 15 years, but
Well, that's excellent.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the wonderful thing. I mean, veterinary medicine has come so far. I've been doing this for 18 years, and
Yeah,
the profession has just changed dramatically in the process between our better understanding of nutrition and health and medicine to our digital X-ray machines and our dental equipment, and we can just do so much more. I mean, these days it's getting to the point where even private practices like ours might have a CAT scan. I mean, we don't have anything like that on our plan anytime soon, but that
eventually you probably will with your new
maybe,
facility,
yeah.
right?
I mean, the equipment has gotten smaller. It's gotten more compact, more
Right.
efficient, more effective, less costly. I mean, that's still always a big driving force in veterinary medicine. Is can you justify the cost of having such a piece of equipment? And,
Right.
you have to be able to use it and use it frequently. So, that's why we're really fortunate that we do have all the emergency practices like Tufts University in the area. There was actually a reason why we parked our practice in Northbridge, because we felt we could still be the best general practice that we could be, but have the ability to send our patients to Tufts and some of the other
If you
places.
need more
Exactly.
examination.
Right.
Exactly. More, that higher level care that
Right.
sometimes they're able to provide more effectively than we are. But as we grow, we really hope to be taking on a bigger role in our communities, and providing not just our general care, but also, potentially urgent care as time goes on too. So.
Yeah, things have changed a lot now. I mean, isn't insurance for your pets now is a lot more common, isn't it?
Yes. So it's there's probably more than a dozen companies these days that offer pet insurance. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans don't realize it. Actually, in Great Britain, and I don't know the numbers, but it's a very, very high percentage of the Brits actually have pet insurance, and that actually helps them pay for their pets' health care, and that
Yeah.
it's a very effective tool over
Yeah,
there.
if your pet gets sick, it can be very costly.
It can be, and so that's why when we have new pets, and all veterinarians really do this to my knowledge, is they really talk about pet insurance when you get that new
Yeah.
pet, and say, try to get them insured when their pet's healthy, because it's very hard to add in those policies after they become
Yeah,
ill.
once they become sick, the
Yeah.
insurance companies
Right.
want to take
Yeah,
them on.
unfortunately, they have a bottom line too. So,
Right.
so we these days, an ACL tear in a dog could be $3,500, $4,000,
Wow.
and usually if they tear one, they tear the other one in 6 to 12 months. About 50% of them do. So, you can imagine you could be looking at $8,000 in the course of a year for veterinary care for just those two that problem.
Right.
If you have your pet insurance set up, before that, you usually get an 80 to 90% reimbursement.
I mean, we wouldn't think twice of not getting insurance for our kids.
Right.
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 Medical
Yeah.
insurance,
Yeah.
whether we pay for it or we get it through work or whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, your pets are now part of the family. They're really a very much a part of the family.
Absolutely. I mean, our dogs and our cats and a lot of our other pets have become, that they used to be out in the barn or tied out in the yard, and now they're sleeping in bed with us, or
Yeah,
or
right.
Yeah.
and they get carried around in little carriers and so yeah, they have become a really big part of our lives, and I mean that's why we find it so important to keep them healthy and happy. And I think that's part of the reason why Erin got into daycare and boarding was because, when we're at work, they're home. And
Yes.
Yeah.
they're not getting the exercise they
Yep.
need. They're not getting the attention they need. And, so I think that's part of the reason why Erin got into this profession was that we can, with boarding and daycare, you can start providing some of that care, sort of like a preschool for dogs and cats. Not cats so much, but dogs definitely. So.
Cats kind of take care of themselves. They're kind of loners.
Yeah.
Well, I have one who's not a loner. He demands a high level of attention. Yeah. Yeah, he's quite the little character actually. But yeah, cats don't really kind of fit into a daycare environment quite the way dogs do. They're not
That's
they're not
another
the
thing, too.
social.
People don't probably realize it, but every animal has its own personality.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like people.
Yes. I've never come across a dog that has the same personality, ever. Even
Yeah.
siblings. They're
Isn't it
so
amazing?
different. Yeah. Different behavioral things. One could be in a corner all day sleeping while the other one's playing all day.
Yeah,
And they could be brother and sister from the same litter. So I've never seen the same dog ever. And I've been doing this for 8 years.
Yeah, it's we'll have families bring in two dogs at the same time, and one will be outgoing and social, and the other one will be unfortunately hiding under the chair. And it's like any family, there's a whole host of personalities that goes into it, and it makes it both wonderful and challenging to have them in your lives. But I guess that's part of the enjoyment of figuring out who they are and
Yep.
and helping them have the best life that they can have while they're with you. So
yeah. I mean, there's people that have multiple pets, multiple dogs.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. And they're all different breeds and personalities, and
Yep.
some shed and some shed less, and some drool and some can't breathe half the time. It's when you talk, so it's a very interesting world to be in this profession for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I see the older people with the lap dogs, and it's like they have their child again.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, they're companions, and
Yeah.
and the best thing about them is they don't judge us.
No, they don't.
They're always happy to see us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be gone for 5 minutes or 5 hours, and they're still happy to see you either way, the
Yep.
same way.
Right.
It for a lot of us, and I know, especially in our profession, they make our lives whole. And I think there's a lot of evidence that says that they make us healthier. So. I have dog and cat allergies, and I still have dogs and cats. So, I don't know why I do it sometimes, but when I'm sniffling and sneezing.
And
But
they'll never speak ill of you either.
no, it's the greatest part.
Yeah, right.
They do not tell stories. They do not tell my secrets.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. Yeah. No. The fact that I had chips for dinner last night, they're not ratting me out. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's good. So
Now, I wanted to get into, I know Dr. Fitzpatrick wanted to add a veterinary class to
yes.
the Blackstone Valley, but he didn't get extended courses that he wanted,
Right.
but he's not giving up.
No. I don't know how much of this is public knowledge or not, but yeah, the veterinary assisting program over there, I'm on their board of advisors. I was very fortunate to be asked to be on that part of that
So he
program.
has started the program?
We haven't started the program,
We got a
but
call, let me take this.
sure.
We don't like to hold our callers up now, I gotta get this to work. Go ahead, caller, you're on.
Hi there.
There you go. Okay, we got the button to work. Go ahead. Go
Hi there,
ahead.
this is Teresa.
Okay, Lisa.
Teresa?
Teresa? Hello?
Teresa, yes.
Teresa.
Turn your TV down. You're going to get mixed up because there's a delay. Okay, talk on the phone. Talk to us through the phone, not the TV, because there's going to be a delay.
I get you. Do you want me to go now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi there, this is Teresa.
Hi, Teresa. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. This is very exciting for
I was
us.
calling, yeah, because I was very curious when you guys are going to start taking boarding reservations.
That is a really common question these days. We had actually hoped to be in business by now, but as we were talking about earlier, there have been a lot of delays. I think right now our suites are on order, and they're supposed to be delivered the second week in July, and
Yes.
we hope to have them installed shortly thereafter. So we're working through that right now, but we think we'll probably be able to start doing some boarding in the second or third week of July. So I think Erin will be starting to take reservations probably for the last week of July pretty soon, and then we're kind of going to fill forward after that. But as we get a better deadline, so hopefully that helps.
No, it definitely does, and I was curious because I heard Erin talking about dogs and stuff like that. There's going to be cat boarding too, right?
Correct.
Yes, actually, up on the third floor. Well, it's technically the second because it's ground first and second. We are going to have a cat-only area. Yeah, they're cat condos. They're really pretty cool actually. And Erin, I
This
know
way, yeah. So they won't be disturbed by the dogs.
there'll be at least a floor above
Okay.
them.
Yeah. But there'll be quite a few up there for the cats as well. So we
I
didn't
think-
forget about them.
And then this is a silly question. Do the cats get playtime like the dogs do
Yes.
with each other?
Yep. So we plan on putting some sort of like cat tree in there for them. And they're pretty self-sufficient, so I can let them out and do some chores while they're playing.
And they get along? They usually, in your experience, get along with each other?
If you have two, I wouldn't recommend maybe putting just two strange cats together, just because they're not as social as dogs. But you personally can have your cat out of the condo to play around.
Oh,
on
okay,
cat,
okay.
Yeah, on cat trees, cat toys, whatever that we have for them. So yeah, that's definitely an option.
No, I get you. Well, that's my only question.
Great. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, cats aren't very social with one another.
It depends on the cat.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are very social. Some, my guy is not incredibly social with other cats. That's
neither, yeah.
actually that's how I
Mine's
ended
not.
up with
I
him.
think males are probably worse, right?
I don't know. I think it's independent of gender
Yeah.
in most cases. Yes.
Mine, his name was Jake. He didn't like any other cats around.
No.
No.
No, especially in his house.
Right. Well.
Right.
Right.
This is his place.
Right.
And he didn't like, my son dog would come over. He didn't like that either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though a dog just wanted to play,
Right.
he doesn't look at it that way.
No, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes the mixed households can be challenging to have.
Yep.
I have a dog and a cat, and I was telling my staff the other day that the dog is relatively new. She's only been with me about a month or so, and I heard her barking at 3 a.m. and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I'd taken her outside, I'd given her a snack, I'd tried to figure out, and so next time she was barking, I snuck down the stairs and I found my cat standing in front of her crate teasing her. That was what was going on. So he's a little bit of a challenge at times. So he was quite happy that she was in the crate and he could harass her. So
They're quite intelligent. We don't give it as much credit as we should.
yeah, sometimes I wish they weren't so smart. Actually, it would be easier. So yeah, it's not good to be outsmarted by one of your patients in my profession. So it seems to happen sometimes. So
I know. My cat, one time, I'm on probably my fourth beta fish now. It only lasted a couple of years.
right.
Yeah.
One time, it disappeared completely. And then I figured out, the cat got him.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Now, I don't know how he did it because it has a cover.
Right.
But he was able to get in there.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They're a little too smart for their own good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's actually part of the challenge that Erin has with running the facility is keeping those animals, those dogs and also cats, entertained because if they're not entertained, then they they can be stressed out and and have other health problems. And
Yes.
so there'll be a lot of time that she and her staff will be spending in enriching their lives, is what we call it, environmental enrichment, to make sure that they are happy, they are comfortable, they are as stress-free as possible. We've been actually starting to look for big play toys, like how the
Little tykes.
the little tykes have the outside
yeah.
For like the kids,
outside
yeah.
houses and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so we're starting to look for some of those to put into there. They have veterinary versions and daycare and boarding ones, but we've over the years we've found that these
Yeah, because they're like little kids, really.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Some of them are they like to sit in beds, and they like to poke their heads out of those little windows in the houses, and so we're starting to collect those now, so we can make sure that they have a lot of fun places to play.
Well, let's get back to Blackstone Valley, boat tech.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that, because there was a lot of people that go there. I know my granddaughter was interested in getting into a veterinary program.
Right.
She goes there now.
Oh, does she? That's great. So like I was saying, I'm on the board of advisors, so I have some knowledge of what's going on. I don't know all the details, but the original hope was that we would have the veterinary assisting program in there to start in the, I believe, fall of 2019. But there have been some delays, so I think we're hoping for 2021 now, and we're discussing with the Valley Tech, being one of their partners in this program, so that the students have a place to go to learn about daycare and
Yeah,
boarding and
well, hands-on.
grooming and veterinary.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Erin will be able to hire some of these kids for summer and vacation work.
Right.
That's how it usually works. Is when they go on vacation is when we get really busy.
Yeah, we're during the summer and
Ex-
vacation, and school
exactly.
vacation
Right.
weeks.
Exactly.
Yep.
People shoot off to Florida or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we hope that not only are we going to be able to take care of our community's pets, but that we're actually going to be a resource for Valley Tech as well. And
Right.
in the in the long run, some of the spaces that we have in the building, we're hoping to create. Basically a pet parent educational center, so that if you're thinking about purchasing or adopting a dog or a cat, that will hopefully have monthly meetings where you might be able to come in and maybe talk through a little bit about what would be a good pet for your situation and what you're looking for. I mean, there some of the
Yeah,
breeds.
That's a good idea. People sometimes will get a pet and don't realize what they're getting into,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
and be sorry after.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, a husky is a great dog, but it's not a great dog in a small apartment, for instance.
Right.
Where ironically a greyhound can be a great dog in a small apartment because they like to curl up like a cat and they actually don't like to run around that much. So, those are some inside knowledge that we have that we hope that we can pass on to our community and give them an opportunity to find pets that are better suited for what they're expecting, where they live. So many animals are given up to shelters or for rehoming because it's not a good fit.
Right, and they have to get rid of them. They
Right,
just can't
Right.
handle
It's
it.
not a bad pet and it's not a bad person. It's just
Right.
not a good fit because of where they live or what they're maybe they have longer hours and that they're working. So maybe a cat would be a better choice than a dog
Yeah.
in those situations. So excuse me. So we're hoping that. We can start providing some of those educational opportunities. I mean, that's something that Erin will probably be doing partly out of the daycare and boarding facility, and partly and then we'll be doing it also through the veterinary facility. So we really hope to make it more of a cooperative opportunity between and pool our knowledge. So,
Right.
But,
I was always intrigued by veterinary medicine because, like I say, my son's a physician, but he only has to know a human body.
right.
Right.
You got to know all these different animals. I mean, they're all different.
Right. So the anatomy's probably the easy part. It's actually their behavior in situations that is sometimes the hardest. So,
Really?
Yeah, because they all not only do have everyone has their own personality, but every species has its behavior. As I was saying, for instance, guinea pigs and rabbits, because they're a prey species, they hide their illnesses incredibly well when they're sick. And so unfortunately, a lot of families come in with their pet guinea pig or pet rabbit, and they're much sicker than they realize, and it's much harder to help those pets recover.
They're too far gone.
Sometimes they really are, because they hide their illness so much. Whereas dogs, who are much more bonded to us and really require a lot of our attention all the time, some more than others, it's much easier to see that they're ill sometimes. And then cats are sort of in between. Some cats are always out and about, and when they change their behavior, it's much more obvious they're sick. It is challenging from an anatomical and biochemistry point of view, but pet behavior is probably the hardest thing we do these days, and so that's why it's great that Erin is getting further education in pet behavior.
Mm-hmm.
We hope to have a trainer or two on site as well, to run classes. We hope. So because these things, again, most of these pets don't come with an owner's manual,
right?
And there's a lot of unfortunately, there's a lot of incorrect information out there, either from individuals who think they know what's going on because maybe they had some training, but it's our understanding of that behavior is improved, or unfortunately, the internet has a lot of inaccurate information too.
Yeah, the internet is loaded with erroneous stuff.
Absolutely.
Anybody can put anything they want on there.
Right.
Yes, there's probably a lot more false information than true information out there. So
unfortunately, and people end up picking up on it.
There's a lot of myths that are perpetuated over and over and over again, and we try to correct those myths when we have an opportunity, but we don't get a chance to talk to everyone all the time about everything that's going on, although we like to spend a lot of time with our clients, get to know them, find out what's going on in their lives so that we can help them with their pets, and there's a lot of challenges involved in that. So
animals get a lot of the same diseases humans get.
They get almost all the same diseases. It sometimes presents itself in a different way, but one of my colleagues, Dr. Barr, she's had a run of patients with diabetes lately.
Everything animals get that. Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So we have to. So we were just talking about this yesterday or today, I guess maybe, and she's had 4 or 5 patients, I think, in the last 6 months who are diabetic cats and dogs, and
it's onset diabetes type 2.
Well, whether it's type 1 or type 2, we don't care as much in veterinary medicine. We treat them all with insulin and appropriate diets, and make sure that other aspects of their health are improved. Unfortunately, they're at high risk for getting high blood pressure and dental disease and
same
cardiovascular disease, just like in people, and of course, dogs and cats and other animals get dental disease all the time. They get cancer. They get heart disease.
Yeah, cancer is pretty common.
Well, it is, but it's partly in some ways it's almost a I don't know if tribute's the right word, but because our pets often live so much longer these days, as a whole, we see cancer a lot more.
Well, it's true with humans too. More cancer in humans because humans are living longer.
Exactly. So and that's the great thing about what we can do, is we can treat most of those things, and our goal. Our goal, especially with things like cancer, is not to necessarily save that pet the way we would save a human being, but it's to make sure whatever time they have with us is as high a quality as possible. So maybe we aren't going to cure them and get them 5 years of life, but if we can give them 2 really good years of life with after a diagnosis like that, then we feel that we've been successful. And there are specialists in these fields too. So if we can't take care of something, we can refer them to a specialist and have them.
I had an incident when I had 2 dogs. My sons were young.
Mm-hmm.
They kept getting strep.
Really?
And the doctor would give them antibiotics and clear it up. They get it again.
Right.
Doctor says, have your dogs checked.
Really?
So he brought him to the vet.
Yeah.
Dr. Fenzel at the time. He passed away.
Yep, old Doc Fenzel,
Yeah. He laughed at me. He said, what are you talking about? He said, I want to have the dogs checked.
For strep?
For strep.
Sure.
He said, well, I'll do it. So
he
takes a sample and we send it in. Sure enough, they tested positive.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right.
We had to put the dogs on antibiotics.
Yeah, there are a lot of illnesses that our pets can get that we can get from them, and there are actually some illnesses that we can give our pets too.
Yeah, and I think the kids gave it to them, and then they
It's
just carried on.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
Kept giving it back.
yep. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that like guinea pigs can get the common cold from us. So there's a lot of, and then there's one of my first experiences with illnesses that we can get from our pets is I unfortunately was diagnosed with, when a month out of vet school with a disease called leptospirosis, and it can cause kidney and liver damage, and it's fortunately not super common here in the Northeast, but and we have a vaccine for it. But I had been working with a patient who we discovered had that infection, and I unfortunately became infected with it. It's spread in urine, and if you have a cut on your hand and you get a splash of urine, that's how the bacteria spread. So
It's a bacterial disease.
it's a bacterial disease, and so and I got very sick with it.
Wow.
So there are a lot of these illnesses, and that's the other reason why it's so important that our pets come in to a veterinarian
On a regular basis.
to make sure that they are getting the health care they need. I mean, rabies is the most obvious
Yes.
disease that we have to worry about, but there are actually lots of others too.
You find the rabies epidemic going on to a certain extent? I mean,
Well, we're fortunate that in our population of patients, we almost never see rabies. I've seen rabies 3 times in 18 years. So
that's good.
it's just not that common because most of our community members are really good about getting their pets vaccinated, especially their dogs.
but you hear about it in the wild.
Absolutely in the wild, and actually all the cases I saw of rabies were in cats. Unfortunately, a lot of times cats
No,
are.
see, you say people don't tend to bring their cats to vets.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is these cats had either were very young or very old, and they hadn't either been to the vet yet, or they hadn't been to the vet in a very long time.
Yep.
And it was very sad because in all cases, family members were exposed to rabies. There was a
Yeah.
lot of anxiety about whether or not a human being was going to become sick with it. And it's scary. So it's really very important that we bring not just our dogs, but also our cats.
Well, now your cats are out there roaming by themselves. They
Right.
do a lot of hunting.
Right,
Rabies can be carried by mice, field
Right.
mice.
right.
Right.
Well, the other scary part is bats. There's a lot of home.
Bats are
Right.
real big carriers.
Right, exactly, and bats don't have to be sick to actually be carrying rabies.
Right.
Sadly, we've lost a lot of our bat population in this area due to the white nose disease. But
I didn't know it.
yeah.
I'm a big fan of bats.
bats are awesome. They eat tons of mosquitoes.
That's why I'm a
Right.
big fan
Yeah,
of them.
exactly. I hate the
Right,
mosquitoes.
Get
Yeah.
those out of here.
But yeah, so if you get a bat in your home and you have an unvaccinated cat, that cat either catches the bat or gets exposed to the bat saliva in another way.
Oh, the bat might bite them.
Right. Yeah. Usually it's the other way around, but
Yeah.
it's, but most of the bats are just trying to get away. But
Yeah, we don't have vampire bats.
no. Yeah. Most of the bats are just trying to get away.
Yeah.
But the little brown bats are very.
People don't
passive.
realize they sweep through the night,
Yep.
scooping up mosquitoes like crazy.
Right.
I got a bat box in back of my shed.
That's great.
It's way up high. It's about 12 feet off the ground.
I put one in a couple years ago, but I haven't seen any bats in it, unfortunately.
I haven't seen any in it, but they come and go. So,
Right.
Right.
but I'm a big fan of bats because, like I say, it's the best mosquito zapper you could have.
Right.
Much better than the other things you can buy. So and
Yeah.
they don't cost you anything. Plus they're
And if you don't think they're around, if you look out at dusk,
right.
They're there.
you see,
Yeah.
they fly. They're fast. They fly
Absolutely.
fast.
Yeah.
They're out there collecting mosquitoes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this, and I guess I'll put my own plug in. This is why we actually want to keep our cats indoors.
Yes.
Because they are,
Yep.
unfortunately, cats are great hunters, and when they're outside, they are unfortunately hurting our wildlife in many cases.
Especially the bird population.
Especially the songbird population.
Yes.
And then they're also roaming around, and if they're not vaccinated, that's another set of problems. So I would encourage, and sadly we see a lot of cats that get hit by cars,
Yes.
or eaten by other animals. So I would encourage you to keep your cats indoors as much as possible,
Yep.
or maybe if they go outside on a harness and a leash, and you keep track of them. So
I never had a problem. The cat I had, Jake, he didn't hunt.
right,
I had a field mouse in the house, and he would watch it.
right.
It wouldn't do anything. What good are you?
Right. Yeah. Well, once they come in the house, those mice are fair game. But it's
But he wouldn't even
he
bother
wouldn't do
them.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I grew up with a Siamese cat that was like that too. The dog would catch the mice, the cat would not.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He wouldn't even bother with the birds. He would stare at them, but he wouldn't go after them.
Right. Yeah. We
Never cross the street.
Well, some cats are they, homebodies and
Yeah.
not really enthusiastic about having to catch their food.
Yep.
Especially when we bring them good food on a regular basis. Why?
Well, that's it.
Why
He-
put
Right.
yourself
He
out
ate
there?
well.
Right?
Why work at
Yeah,
it?
why
Right.
work? It's
Right.
they're actually that Jake sounds like a smart guy. Actually, he stayed
Yeah.
home, did what he needed to do to
Yeah.
get his three square meals.
Slept
and
most of the time.
Slept most of
Right.
the time. Sounds like a good life to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
That's one thing. Cats sleep a lot.
a lot.
they do, and I think they're probably smarter than we are in some ways about
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Well, your body heals when you sleep.
it heals. Your brain works better.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it happens with animals too.
Right. Yep.
They're resting, their bodies are healing, and cats do well, and that's why they call it cat napping.
Right.
They nap all the time.
They do, and yeah, and they're just another amazing species. And when we think about house cats, it's kind of interesting. If you watch a house cat and you watch a cat on National Geographic or something like that, the lions or the tigers, you can actually see a lot of the same behaviors, and
So similar.
they're very
Yes.
similar. And you
Yes.
start realizing that little 10 to 8 to 12 pound cat, or sometimes 20 pounds, is really a pretty fierce little animal, and
Oh.
kind of be happy that it's not a 800-pound tiger, So,
Right.
but it's
He could be fierce when he wanted to. He'd attack my legs
Yeah.
Yeah.
for no reason at all.
Well, he had his own reason. You just didn't know what it
Right,
was.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, he had a reason for it. They can be their play can be a little rough.
Yeah.
I have more than a few scars from cats who either were trying to play
Especially
or
a feral, right?
well, yeah. I mean, hey, I've worked with enough cats that they're pushovers and sweethearts at home that were not at the veterinary office. Most veterinary staff members have, they can pick up a hand and show all their
Right.
scars
Yeah.
off. Well, this one I got from this cat named
Yeah.
Jake, or and so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cats can come at you in lots of ways with 4 feet and the teeth, and and sometimes they don't give you a lot of notice when they're not happy, and so like I
Yeah,
said,
you bother them.
yeah, well, like I was saying earlier, the biggest challenge we have in veterinary medicine and pet care in general is understanding their behavior, and it's just something that doesn't come naturally to all of us, and it can be challenging. So
Right.
and so that's a big part of Erin's job, is making sure she's putting groups of dogs together that get along,
Yeah.
moving dogs around, and you know more about it than I do.
Yeah,
but
so each dog will have to come in for a temperament test before they can go into the daycare facility. Not only so I can make sure that they're good with
Yeah.
people, but they also have to get along with dogs as well, like playing, just socializing, not guarding objects.
Now, if they're not a dog that'll mingle, you won't let them come in, or
No, so just this is a liability.
Yeah.
and
Just for them and for us. Like
Right,
if they don't
right,
want
I
to be
can
around, if they don't
understand
want to
that.
be around the dogs, then why put them in a daycare
if
facility?
if they're not if they're not going to be happy there, then
Right.
it's best not to put
Yeah.
them there.
you
Right.
find the smaller dogs that are worse.
I think it's independent of size.
yeah,
sometimes.
some little dogs love it. Like
Yeah.
absolutely love, and they'll play with the big dogs.
I know they
And
bark
I'm
more.
like,
Some do, some don't. It really
Yeah.
depends on the dogs. I
Yeah.
mean, and depends on how they're raised and the behavior that they have going on at home. And a lot of times, unfortunately, we mistakenly encourage certain behaviors. So if for instance, if the dog is barking and you say, Fluffy, that's enough. Well, all you've really done is you've encouraged that dog
To do more.
to bark more, and
Right.
so you every time you give that dog attention when it's barking, it's going to bark more, and
Here's the way of getting
yeah,
attention.
Yeah.
they
right.
They're talking to me.
they're talking to me, they're giving me attention,
Right.
and so so large dog, small dog, old dog, young dog, they all have their own personalities, and that's something that Erin has to try to figure out when she's setting up these daycare groups. So who gets along, who doesn't,
Right.
and make sure that it's safe for everyone. Unfortunately, some of the worst injuries I've seen is not from the dog that started the problem. It's from the dog who reacted to the problem. So you have a dog who's pushing someone else's buttons, and that other dog finally says, "Enough's enough. I'm going to let you know." And the button pusher is the one who got hurt. So
Right.
so unfortunately we have to really judge those groups really strictly. Because we're looking out for all of their welfare,
Right.
and,
Right.
and sometimes the welfare is the welfare the most is the one who can't come to daycare. So,
Well, we only got about 5 minutes, but
yeah,
what I wanted to get into as well is, some people are concerned, I'm on a planning board, as you know, and
right,
we had one guy questioning, and wasn't the time, because you don't question until you start building the facility.
right,
We do site plan review,
right.
Right.
but
Yeah.
you pretty much covered any problems with noise.
Yeah, and Erin can speak more about it too. The short version is that happy dogs might be barking a little bit at each other, but they're not doing that incessant,
Loud,
constant
barking.
barking that
Yeah.
is so ear shattering.
Right.
And so while we have about 2,200 square feet of indoor play space,
Yep.
I think we're going to have about 3,000 square
Feet
feet of
of
outdoor
outdoor.
play space as well. Those dogs are not going to be housed out there. They're going to come out, run around,
Yep.
play, and then they're going to come back indoors because
It'll be fenced in.
be fenced
Yes.
in, and we're going to address any noise concerns as they arise.
Yep.
We have some expectations of what we can expect
Right.
to be noise, but we'll continue adding noise barriers or make adjustments in the programming of the daycare as needed in order to address those concerns.
Right.
We have a lot of clients who live in the area. I live in the area. We want to be good neighbors.
Right.
The good news is it's not a nightclub. We're only open during the day.
Yeah.
Right.
So
There's not going to be groups of dogs early in the morning outside or late at night outside.
Right.
So in the mornings, we'll be letting them out one by one just to get them outside. So,
Yeah, let
and
them
if
go
they're
and do
barking,
their
they're going
daily
to come back.
constitution
Yeah,
and-
right. And they're going to come back inside if they're barking. I don't want to wake up people
Right.
that early in the morning, nor do I want to keep them awake at night. And daycare won't be outside till anytime after probably 10 because we have to wait for all the dogs to come in anyways.
Yeah, and that building is pretty soundproof.
yeah,
Super soundproof.
yeah, there was.
Well, it was designed to be because it was a hospital.
Right.
Right.
There was heavy demolition going on indoors, and you could be outside and
Wouldn't hear a thing.
barely
Yeah.
hear a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite hard to hear. It's big enough so now it's about 20,000 square feet, the whole building, and you can be in one part of the building and you don't know where anyone else is. And so the staff will be wearing headsets and radios so they communicate with each other, so we know where people are, both for the daycare and boarding facility as well as for the veterinary
That's the thing,
hospital.
technology today makes it a lot easier to do all these things and
It does.
stay
Yeah.
ahead of it.
Yeah.
It hopefully allows us to be more efficient, but also be able to address issues as they arise a lot faster too.
Yeah.
So
Well, you can see you had a call. I mean, I think there are a lot of people looking forward to it, because right now there is a shortage of boarding space.
right. There's definitely a shortage in the valley for boarding space. We hope that adding in this facility will really make a big difference. And like I said earlier, provide people with a sense of safety for their pet. Where they're going to be nice suites. They're going to be very comfortable. We're planning on having a caretaker on site 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
We're planning on having video web cameras so that people can check on their pets.
I know, that's amazing. It's amazing, the technology today. I just get amazed. I mean, this show I have people in Poland that watch my show.
Really, that is
Wow.
very cool.
I have, cousins over there.
Well, if they want to board in Whitensville, they're more than welcome. So,
But that's the amazement of today's technology
Right.
and the internet.
right. It is. It's really changed the world we
Your
live in.
partner in California will be able to watch this show.
He will actually. Hopefully, he thinks we did well. So
Oh, you sent him
I might
the,
hear about it later. I'm not
send him the web
actually. My
address?
phone's buzzing. That might be him now. I don't know. So
Yeah, I mean, it's-
yeah. You know, he's very invested in this program and this project.
No, this
It's
is
a big
great.
deal.
I mean, this is more expansion for the valley, and I love it. That's what I want to see. We need this type of expansion in the valley.
We do. If we're going
We
to
need the services.
if we're going to take care of our community, these are the things that we need to bring in.
Yes.
And we do need to build our business base in town, and it, you know, provides opportunities for employment as well as you know, I hate to admit it, tax opportunities. So
Right.
please keep it low. Anyway, but yeah, it's you know, I want a job. I want a job for the kids. I want a
Yep.
job, you know, so that our schools can have
And you're
places.
freeing up another building for another business to come in.
Possibly so.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can't find someone to lease or purchase it, then we'll have to figure something else for that facility.
I'm sure you'll find someone.
I hope so. So
Well,
thank
you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I really
Yeah,
appreciate the
Thank you for
time.
having us.
Yes, it was great. Next week, my guest is going to be John Kingston, the candidate for the U.S. Senate. And so we'll see you then on About the Valley.